Less than 1 minute, guys. So let's get ready to have a conversation. It is going to be very interesting to hear what kind of parent you are and why are you that kind of parent. All right, now I'm ready. Are you? So, with that being said, what? Let the show begin. Disclaimer: I am a podcaster, motivational speaker, and full-time counselor. And here on this platform, it is my job to talk about current affairs and trending topics that have been discussed, posted, and even floating around on social media. I do not claim to be the voice for all, nor do I claim to know it all. Therefore, remember this if you remember nothing at all. It is okay that we agree to disagree, as long as it is respectful. Every Friday at 7 p.m., I will be talking about whatever I like, and you will have the opportunity to share your voice. Now, if you can handle it, have a seat, and if you can't, feel free to exit stage left. With that being said, let the discussion begin. What's up, guys? Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl D from the Voice Gathering Live podcast show. We are in the building. We are in the building. How's everybody doing? What is going on with everyone? What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you? How are you? How are you? So, I want to give people a little bit of time to get into the room before we open up today's conversation. Oh, I see people. There you go. Hello, Kofi. Hello, Miss Alexander. Hello, Miss Jordan. Hello, Latifa. Hello, people. 7 people. All right, and prompt. Let's go. Hello, Miss Naomi. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? So, guys, what's up? How has everybody been? I am well. Thank you, Miss Alexander, for asking that. I am doing well. Thank you. All right, guys. So, as you can see in the description, today's conversation is about parenting. Hello, Eric. Thank you for coming. Glad to see you here as well. So, again, Today's conversation is about what? Becoming. So, we have been taking the last couple of weeks of talking about this series of becoming. And we talked about becoming what it means to be a significant other to someone, becoming and finding our own space as women. Becoming today is about parenting and your parenting style. What kind of parent are you, and why are you the parent that you are? We do know that the environment in which we grow plays a big important role into the people we become. So, when you think about you being a parent, and you don't have to be a biological parent to join this conversation, you can be a parent that is a foster parent, a community parent, you can be a godparent, a step parent, or again, a bio parent, right? And the question today is, in this generation, in these days and times, what kind of parent are you, and why are you the parent that you are? What makes you that parent? And especially if you're in a relationship with a significant other, be it married, whatever kind of relationship that is, and you share this union and have children, bio or non bio, do you two parent the same way? So there are four styles of parenting that I want to talk about. And I'm going to read the description of these parenting styles to you. And I want you to give me your feedback about what kind of parent do you see yourself being. First and foremost, oh, I just noticed something, guys. Hold on. Interesting. Okay, guys, let me know if you see any delay on your side of the viewing, because I'm just noticing something that should not be happening. But nevertheless, the show will go on. So look at these descriptions and tell me, what kind of parent do you see yourself? What kind of parent are you? Okay, so you had a minute to look at these parenting styles. And what I would like to know from each and every one of you in the comments, please post, what kind of parent are you? Are you an authoritarian parent? And that is a parenting style that's characterized by high demands and low responsiveness. Parents with authoritarian style have a high expectation of their children, yet they provide little way of feedback and nurturance. Mistakes tend to be punished harshly. That is an authoritarian parent. Authoritative parents are parenting styles characterized by high responsiveness and high demands. Authoritative parents are responsive to their children's emotional needs while having high standards. They set limits and are very consistent in enforcing boundaries. Are you that kind of parent? Are you the kind of parent that is permissive by way of low demands and high responsiveness? Permissive parents tend to be very loving, yet provide few guidelines and rules. These parents do not expect mature behavior for their children and oftentimes seem like friends than they are parents. And the fourth one is uninvolved parenting. That parenting style is referred to as neglectful parenting. It's a kind of style that is lacked by responsiveness to the child's needs. Parents make few demands, and their children are often indifferent, dismissive, and even completely neglectful of that child. So, what kind of parent are you? Okay, so let's see. Hello, soul. Welcome to the building. A mixture of between authoritarian and authoritative. Okay. Permissive. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I see that. So the question now becomes is, why are you the kind of parent that you are? Do you believe that your culture, your environment in which you grew up in, the neighbor and the environment means as well as your home, the neighborhood, the community in which your family grew up in, do you believe that that play a major role in your parenting style? And why, for the people who posted a comment, why do you stand in that position of that parenting style? What is it? At any point, guys, you can ask me to go live with me. We're going to eventually try that feature out here on the show where someone in the comments can say, can I go live and be with you on the show? You don't have to be video, you can be audio, and that works as well. But why are you that parenting style? Because I want to tell you that my thought is this. I'm a 70s baby, let's be clear. And what if you want to call that dating yourself, I'm a 70s baby. And being a 70s baby, there is a great difference, in my opinion, of the parenting style for the 90s, this millennial generation. And there is still some similarities there, right? When I grew up in the household that I grew up in, you didn't ask questions. If you were given a directive, you were to follow that directive. That directive style was, mom said, take out the garbage. Mom said, clean your room. Dad said, whatever he said. And you were required to follow those rules that was set. You didn't ask, oh, well, can it wait? Or you just kind of ignored it. It was like there was no way you were doing that. All right, Miss Lungo from where you are. Hello, my love. Hello, hello. There was no negotiating when I was a child with my parents about the rules that they enforced. These rules were rules that we had to abide by. Now, yes, as a child, you did your dirt and said what you wanted to say under your breath, but you dare not say, oh, I'll get to it in a minute, or I'm busy right now, or I'm talking to my friend. That was not accepted. And then I was having a conversation with one of my good friends today, and she's not in the chat, and she was saying to me, she has a very different style. Many people have a different style. I'm older than she is, and she and I've had some similarities as far as the way we were brought up. But she's taken a different approach about how she parents her two children. And I actually don't see anything wrong with it, with me judging her parenting style. But I know that that parenting style would not have worked in my household or me raising my own children. So let me look at your comments. Let me look at your comments. Okay. Can I start a watch party on my page? You absolutely can start a watch party on your page, Latifa. Please, everybody, I'm encouraging you to share this show. We're trying to build up our numbers and our viewers and get a more in-depth conversation with people. It's not just about the numbers. So, yes. Let's see. I'm looking over there at your comments, so trust me, I'm paying attention, but I have to look at your comments. Because before I was looking down here, but we got some environment for me, parenting style, because the way I grew up permissive and I needed more authority. Okay, for the transparency, Miss Alexander, thank you for sharing that. My parenting style has been passed on by my parents. There's some trials and errors. I believe that, Lakeisha, absolutely. For us who are 70s babies, that is, there is a great different style in parenting your children, again, then and now. And a lot of things that our parents did in the 70s and the early 80s, we necessarily wouldn't do the same way. I see some delays there. So we're going to try something different on the next show, but we should be a little bit more better with small delays. So let's see. Okay. We had that one look. Yes, you're absolutely, Latifa, right. Your parent can give you a look when you grew up in my era. It seems so great difference, but if you're born in the 70s and you're born in the 80s, it's a difference. If you're born in the 80s and you're not born in the 90s and year 2000, it's a great difference. Okay, thank guys, no delay there. Thank you. I'm getting so nervous about that. But anywho, I keep seeing it on my face here. But anyway, you're absolutely right. My parents, or parents in the neighborhood, can give you a certain look, a slight delay here. I see it, Kofi. Thank you. Um, they can give you a look, and you knew, right? They mean business. The neighbors in the neighborhood where I grew up. Now, you didn't trust everybody in the neighborhood. No, your mother didn't. You didn't have to listen to everybody in the neighborhood. But there was a more common ground when it came to parenting. You know, the neighbor down the street could say to you, "Okay, get out of that street. Stop that fighting. You know, stop using that language." And you knew as a child to have the same respect for that neighbor that you had for your parents. Nowadays, there's this parenting style that I have noticed for a very long time where parents don't want you to say anything to their children. You couldn't even give that child the right criticism of, you don't talk to people like that, or you don't go break up you don't be in the street fighting. A neighbor could go and break that up. Today, now neighbors are in the street and these are parents watching their own children get into battles and fights with other people, and they're cheering them on. So how can maybe the new, let me change back, how can was not having the experience of having that kind of authoritative parent in your life? I think actually that that delay is getting on my nerves. The uninvolved parent, that's definitely out for me. That's not something on the list that I would even entertain. As an aunt, as a godparent, it is, I treat all of the children, cousins younger than me. I mean, you could be a number of years younger than me, and I'm still going to be in that kind of role of parenting. That is important for me. So if I say to you, stop it, and your parents say, well, I told them and they can do, and why are you telling them? Oh, you and your child need to go. Mm-mm. You can't be, or I need to leave. I need to leave. Because if I can't tell your child to stop doing something I think is disrespectful, and you appear to be uninvolved in the way that's redirecting the behavior, that's just not acceptable for me to stand by and just have that in my space. Let's see what's going on in the comments, guys. Yeah. Yeah, that look shook the earth. Didn't have a word to say. Didn't say a word. Absolutely. Some parents nowadays want to be their. You're absolutely right, Rob, and that is something that we were talking about the permissive parent, and sometimes the uninvolved parent. Reading your comments. Dawn, transparency, got it. I let my kids get away with too much stuff because they are aware of the streets. They have these. Okay. And, so I have a nephew, and I've had this conversation with many people before. So I have a nephew, and my nephew has, I remember many times telling him, as a young black boy at that time, now he's a young black man, but as a young black boy, it was important. I didn't need to kind of step into that role because his mother was very much, we have the same, of course we're sisters, we have the same style somewhat in parenting, somewhat, a little bit different, just a little bit, but we grew up in the same parenting style. But my sister was about, like, she gave you that look and she would be like, oh, you honey, your skin left your bones before you actually, and my brother's the same way, about doing things. I have the way of giving the same look, but slightly different, because I want to have a conversation with you. I want to know what's going on. And that goes to what my girlfriend was saying about parenting and having a conversation with her children, giving her children the autonomy to say, mommy, but I was looking at something right now. An example she gave. She says that she would say to her son, go get the remote control for me. And he may be in his allotted time that she permitted him to be on his Game Boy or his iPad, because they're not always in electronics. She doesn't just stick them with electronics. And she said, I might be in my lazy mode and all of a sudden say, oh, go give me the remote control out the room. And he said, but mommy, I'm playing my game right now. She feels like, well, maybe you're right. I'm not going to make him stop doing what I allowed him to do because I'm being lazy getting the remote. That style is different from when I grew up. Whether mom was being lazy or she was giving you a directive. You got up, you got the remote, and you went back to doing what you were doing, right? So when I go back to the story about my sister and my sister would if she tell you to do something, again, like I said, your skin left your bones and you went and did it. And mine's were, I would give this somewhat the same look with saying, I want you to get what I just told you to get. And if you have a reaction to that, let's talk about the reaction. I may not even still agree with the reaction, but let's have a conversation about the reaction. Why are you so upset that you couldn't take 5 minutes to just do what I asked you to do? That's more of my style. Because for me, that's still giving that individual the permission to have a voice in the conversation and not be shut down in the conversation. Right? So that's important for me to have that. And some people disagree that when you tell your children to do something, they should do exactly what you say do and do nothing else but that. Nothing else. And I don't rock in that thing. I think there is a give and a take in the relationship. I see a new name in the comment. Live Levy, if I'm saying that right. That's right back. Okay, yeah. And let's see. Reading your comments, guys. So I know where the camera is, but I'm reading your comments here. I know it's going out to eat with the parents. They will let their children look over the booth with your conversation while you're having a great time. I'll be like, excuse me, can you get your child? Okay, I hear you, Latifah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel that a child should listen to their parents' directive with no questions asked unless it's asked for. Old school Kofi, and I agree with that. I do agree with that. Wow, Latifah, that goes back to wanting to be friends. Absolutely. Good comments, guys. So yes, I absolutely agree with these comments. My fear about the example I was using with my nephew, now when he was younger, I always said to him as an example, look, I'd rather kick your behind now than the police kick your behind later, especially because you're a male, you're black, and there's a lot of people who don't respect those two things, right? And when I say kick your butt, then it doesn't mean that I'm going to pick up a 2x4 and bust him in his head. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that you need to understand that there are rules in this world called life, right? And you have to understand that you can have a voice, but there's a time to use your voice and a time to sit back and think about what you're about to say. I think now a generation, children are given the permission to just be loose lips because they grew up in the environment to say that I had the free will to talk and say what I wanted to say. And that was okay. Yes, it's okay to use your words and say that you want this or you don't want that. But when you are in an environment that's nurturing, a village, nurturing and supportive, understand that the next door neighbor, and you and I have a mutual respect, that I'm not going to tell your child something that I'm not going to tell my own child. And as a neighbor involved in the community, then you should see, oh, sister such and such, or Miss Diamond next door, she has those same kind of traits I appreciate. So that if she tells my child to do something, she's not trying to harm my child. Actually, she's enforcing the rules I have in my own home. And vice versa. Just want to make a quick shout out. Hello, Facebook. If you are in the comments on Facebook, I'm not actually looking at the comments over there. I invite you to come on over here to YouTube to subscribe to the channel. All right. So, yes. Again, hello, Miss Naomi. How are you? Again, Just looking at the comments. So let's just break down really quickly while we're in this chat. Oh, let's see something. My motto is know your audience, know your place, and know your surroundings. A child's place is to listen to their parents' directives unless it causes the child harm. Excuse me. Absolutely. Let's just take a look at something. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. Hold on, guys. I just want to bring this slide over. Just take a look at this slide for a second. From those platforms. I just cannot. I see myself being a more of a parent that is boundaries, supportive, loving, nurturing, guiding. That's important for me. That's important to give that because understand when I am not trying to be anyone's friend. I'm not trying to be my child's friend. I'm not trying to be my child's best friend. That I'm not trying to do. Let's see there. I think it froze. Okay, guys, you didn't see me, but did you see my slide I put up? I want to make sure, did you see the slide? I came out of the picture. We see her. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, she froze for a few. And yes, long go. Okay. Okay, good. You saw the slide. So, yes, that's probably why you didn't see me. I'm not sure, but we're back. It's going to get better. We have less little hiccups or, um, awesome. Less delays. Okay, anyway, I hate this whole looking away from the camera. NT way. So, again, understanding the parenting role. And again, for me, I like being having directives, having boundaries, being supportive and giving communication. That is so important to me. Oh, we somebody subscribed to the show. Welcome to the scroll show, whoever the new subscriber was. Please let me know that if you were a new subscriber so I can say hello to you while we're on the show. Anyway, again, that whole parenting style is so important because understand how you parent your child today is the child that will be a product of the community, and that product of the community will infect the community. So if you're raising your child to believe that no one can say anything to them, that they don't have to follow anyone's rules or regulations unless it is set by you, then I believe that you are doing a disservice to the child. I just believe that. I believe you're doing a disservice to your child. Don't kill me, but I do think you're doing a disservice to your child because you raise your child to be a product of the community so that they can venture out into this world and make a lane for themselves. But by making the lane, they must understand that there are rules, There's going to be people talking to them that they don't want to talk to. There's going to be people requesting them to give them information. They may not feel like they need to give that information. There is balance in parenting. And I know people can run with that. Well, you don't have any children, so how can you say that? But I have parents. I had guide parents. I had people in my community that were leaders, meaning they set examples of what it meant to be a product of the community. Another example that was brought up. Okay, so back many years ago, people were having children young. My great grandmother she had 14 children. 14. One of those was a set of twins. 14 children, 7 boys, 7 girls. And there were boys that were twins. She back then, and that was so long ago, but some women were more like property. So there was, when he wanted to have sex, he had sex. And he had sex with you. Maybe you didn't even feel like it. You didn't want to have any more children. But your job back then, do the research. Back then, you were a house, and there was not a lot of birth control. If they may have done things that didn't have protection, the pulling out method, but there was no, real strong birth control back when my great grandmother was having her children. So you got pregnant and you had kids, unless you stood by having an abortion, right? So nowadays, we have things in place, depending on what your beliefs and religions are. Sorry, guys. You take the road that you want to take, but pay attention that back then, I think women didn't feel like they had a choice. Now we have choices. We have the choice to say that, well, I want to have a child, or I don't want to have children. So if you are going to have children, and you're going to raise your children in a way that they don't have to listen to anyone but you, and they can make their own decisions as they grow up. My girlfriend, and I want to use her for an example because she's a great mother. Now, and I'm not saying that because I feel like I'm pointing her out. No, she's an awesome mom. I've seen her with her children. She's great with her mom. I actually like that she has the balance of saying that, I like my children to be able to express themselves. I think that should be taught early on, absolutely. But I did have a conversation with her and said, well, what are the risk factors of giving a child too much leeway to say what they want and do not want so young, and how that will evolve later on down the line? Because again, it's balance. Just went offline again, Diamond, for a few seconds. Okay. Are we doing better with just kind of popping off and coming back on, guys? Let me know. You know how it was last week. Horrible. But I know we're having a little bit of glitches, and I think I got the cure to that. Maybe we'll try it on Tuesday. But is it a little bit better this time than it was last week? Just says better or no, the same. You can put that in the comments. Again, getting back to the conversation at hand, and thank you for keeping me in the loop about what's going on. Yes, much better. Thank you, Lakeisha. Yes, much better. Thank you, Naomi. Awesome. So again, getting back to what I was saying about this whole parenting style. So I'm not pointing out my girlfriend about that because she's a great mom, and I'm not only saying that because she's my friend. If you know me, you know that I'm very much honest and upfront and letting you know it's just what it is. It's just what it is. But we need to, as a community, as an example, as a parent, of how we are raising children today and what kind of parent these children will become. I have seen some people just write out friends with their children. Friends. I couldn't tell if they were girlfriends or high-fiving friends. I couldn't tell the difference. And I've also seen some of the same people who are friends with their children actually see their children be disrespectful to their parents or an adult. and the parent didn't seem to have anything to say. And, old community that I talked about before was like, okay, well, you know what? Back then you could say, don't you say that. Don't you talk like that to your mother. Child, you better not say that now, because the mother or the father will look at you and say, excuse me, that's my child. And you'd be like, well, wait a minute now. Your child just cussed you out, let you have it. And you're telling me that that's your child. Ugh, I got a problem with that. I have such a problem with that. Let's use another example. You come over to my home, whether I was in a small home or a big home. And I think I know who that is. Sorry. And your child ripping and running around, touching everything in this house. And I'm like, sit down. Don't jump on the chair. Don't do that. And you looking like, oh, well, let us just go. Get your bag and go. Get your stuff and get out. Go ahead. Because if I can't tell your child to sit down in my house and stop jumping all over my furniture, and you get upset because I said, oh, don't put your feet in the chair. Don't do that. Oh, well, your stuff, you don't want no one to touch your stuff. Baby, that's not about touching your stuff. You just have to remember. Oh, thank you, Kofi. Now I know who that is. Your child touching stuff. If you got a problem with me saying that, oh, yeah, it's probably a good idea that you don't you come back over, but you leave the kids home, and we can still be friends, and we don't ever have to talk about that relationship, as far as with your child. Let's see what the comments are saying. Latifa, oh, I hate that. Like, why I gotta tell your child to stop? Absolutely. Well, you know what, Latifa, let me respond to that. You have to tell that person's child to stop, because that parent won't even tell their child to stop. Or they may be telling them, don't do that, but you telling them that like 15 times. Honey, they not listening to you. So then, as a thinker, observer, I'm thinking like, well, wait a minute now. Why isn't your child listening to you? No wonder they're not listening to me. Let's go back to that old school. Back then, if my mother told me to do something, let me change that. The lady told me to do something, or whoever was at the house said, don't do that. And I didn't respond to that. My mother will not say something to her. Like, did you just hear what she just said? And you got it. You got popped, honey. It was pointed out. You got reprimand for that. Now, since I'm speaking about popping, this thing about disciplining your children. So, as a counselor, and I work in an environment where there's this thing called corporal punishment. And yes, back then, what they define now, it was definitely corporal punishment. You guys, I wouldn't even use the word spank. You got beat with a belt. You got beat with a brush. That's a clue for somebody in there getting popped with a brush, honey, coming in the door. You got hit with whatever they can put their hands on. And yes, some people were truly abused back then. There was stenching cords back in my day where they got a cord and whopped you. It was beatings. It was. It's not. It's not my parenting style, picking up bats. And, I remember my Nana, and not my grandmother, my bonus Nana. She was like, go out there and get that switch off that tree. Now, you didn't come in there with no branch, honey, that would break your neck. But if you came back with this very thin little strip of switch, she'd be like, go get a switch off that tree. And if I have to go get a switch, it's going to be a problem. Back then, but you have to remember also, back then, the individuals who had that method in the 70s, so they were 50s and 60s teenagers and babies or young adult. And that, I use this so loosely. I'm going to try to. That demeanor of slave mentality is how the slave master kept his slaves in line. He beat them into submission. And I think some of the lack of understanding to that is that people took some of that and it just passed down generation to generation, that you discipline that way. Let's see what the comments are saying over there. Kofi, extension cords, switches, broomsticks, paddles. Yes, we had a paddle in the house that says, "Pa is boss, as everyone knows. What mom says always goes." That paddle hung on the wall, and it was somewhat a decorative piece on the wall. But I'll never forget, my grandfather took that thing off the wall a couple of times, honey, and used it. And it was a nice thick paddle. Um, my mama beat me every my mama beat me every Friday and Saturday night after sneaking off to the club sensations. Them beatings with the brush to the knuckles was well worth it. I'm so smiling. My cheeks are so wide. Absolutely. You are so funny, Latifah. Thanks for sharing that story because that takes me back. Wink, wink. That takes me back. It felt like Emma Stodd. Ella, give us a freedom. The comments are so great. Absolutely. You guys are absolutely right. Let me see if I missed anything. What did Eric say there? Where's iRob? iRob, I don't see you in the comments. What are your thoughts? Um, oh yes, Eric, you're speaking my language. I can't get down with those kind of children. I can't get down with those kind of people. And if we're going to be friends, then we should be distant friends where I don't have to see how you parent your child. I don't have to see your child being disrespectful to you. And for sure, I'm not going to tolerate them being disrespectful to me. You can't drop your child off to me and be worried about me telling them I said sit down. Oh no. Didn't I? And with a strong voice. And that strong voice is not, I'm letting you know that this is not a negotiation. I said sit down and I mean sit down now. Do it now. So yeah, absolutely. Just looking back at some of the old comments, guys, because I didn't want to miss anything. You guys are so on it. That is so true. That we passed down. My mother used to beat me, and when I blocked the hit, she would say, "Stop trying to fight back." They called. They called. I forget what he's saying. I tried to fight her. I'm telling you, okay, Latifah, I am loving it. Latifah, you have me rolling. Let me tell you something. I have been trying to get Latifah on this show because, honey, that you talking about a dialogue, you guys will be in stitches, in stitches. Latifah, you were trying to block that, so no. Because that's a no. You're absolutely right, Lakeisha. Your mom said, "Put your hand down." You're putting up your hand to, like, blocking the jab. And put your hand down. Put it down. So it was almost like you had to accept, like, wait, you want me to put my hand down so you can get me with the 1-2 pal? Too funny. Too funny. Okay, guys. So, again, this conversation, as we see in the comments, it's serious topic, but there are some light and airy parts of the conversation. Really, it's about you figuring out what kind of parent you are with your significant other and how that would translate in your child becoming an adult. That's what it's going to mean. You know what I mean? Your children have to be nurtured and I believe a child has to be nurtured and reared in a way that they can go out and be part of society, but not just live in the bubble of your rules. My parents were born during the Depression, so they were tough, especially with my older brother and sisters. When I came when I came around, they were more lenient, but I still would get the belt foot. Okay, Eric. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the then and the now. It's the then and the now. And I think that, if you think about it, they said that there is going to be a lost generation because you can't tell this new generation, old school can't tell this new generation nothing because they have been taught to believe that they do it their way and that's it. I mean, 15, 16 years is, honey, curse you out. I don't have to listen to you. And you know where they got that from? They got a lot of that from their father and mother. And yes, younger people are having children earlier, right? But I still believe a young person having a child can still have the tools necessary to, when they have their child, to kind of give those tools to the child so that they can make some improvement, make better decisions. You know what I mean? I think it's possible. It is possible. I mean, look at this. I want you to look at this picture here. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you see when you see this picture. What do you see when you see this picture right here? Before I even comment, what do you see? Because I see a whole lot here. And I'm wondering if you guys see the same thing. What did you see in that picture, guys? Because in this picture, I see three generations. And the picture depict, yes, Kendra, absolutely. That's it. There is three generations I see. The grandparents, the parents, and the children. You see support, you see a village. And this is one unit from the two elders in this family, right? That's what you see. And you have to believe that the support from the top down, the support is not coming from the down up. It comes from the top. So the grandparents were able to give to the children, so that those individuals can give to their children. And it's a cycle. It's a give and it's a take. And we have to remember that. We don't remember those things. We don't take those things serious. And that makes you think about that. All right, let's see what these comments. I see what they usually say. Absolutely. Absolutely, Liv. You're absolutely right. I don't think people really, I think this new generation is so different than what we got. And I'll tell you the truth, I would not trade my upbringing, my generation for more years to get what this new generation have now. I just wouldn't. It's not worth it for me to have that kind of um, more experience. I just don't want that. I thank God for the people in my life that were older. Oh my God, with so much wisdom. They taught me what to fear and what to take risk on. They taught me what it means to be a listener and to speak my truth. They taught me that. They taught me to know when what is right and what was wrong. And it wasn't just in my household. And anyone who did not stand on those same kind of uh, goals and tools, that's when my parents say, you don't listen to that parents, because those parenting styles that person had did not echo the style that my parents had. So I've learned to carry that. My nephew, who is now a father, my niece, and my youngest nephew, my goddaughter who knows that, my godson, they all get the same. There's no one where you get this because you are my blood and you are not my blood, so you'll get that. Absolutely not. If it's good for this one, it's going to be good for that one. And then they may use it differently, but I'm going to give you the same tools that allow me to be the woman I am today. Ambitious, go-getting, transparent, honest, all those things are so true. And I think that once we start learning how to give that to this younger generation, because there's going to be a lost generation. There's going to be. I just don't. I mean, the generation now, parents are teaching their children to value more materialistic things than to value things of substance. Their parents cheering their children on. I understand, stand up for yourself, but go out in the street and get into a brawl out fight. Fight, get like you better fight. Yes, I have to tell you that I came up in an era that my mom would say, you better fight back or I'ma kick your behind. And but I didn't grow up with seeing parents in the street, and it may have happened. My environment was not that. When the parent was in the street, I didn't see that. I just didn't. Now I'm not saying it didn't exist. I didn't see it. And I'm glad I didn't. I saw parents that when we go out there and say, get out of the street, they would be grabbing one person by the collar and the other person by the collar and pulling them to their different houses. Mother and your father out in the street saying, all right, you better fight. Honey, well, you got your bra on, you got your wig tied up in your in some kind of bonnet, because by the time you got into the fight, the other person done pulled your bonnet and your wig off. Like, I just don't understand that kind of parenting. I don't. I don't. True, Eric. And I absolutely agree with you. I agree with you, I Rob, to some degree. That behind whooping, I think a lot of children today need that. But again, let's remember, needing that doesn't mean that you have to hurt them. I don't think anything wrong with a couple of pops on the legs. Sting them little legs up a little bit. So didn't I tell you to sit down? Now, honey, you grabbing a 2x4 and busting somebody up in the head. I don't agree with that. I don't. I don't want my children to fear me. Not in that way, where I would hurt them physically, but I want them to have respect. I do. All right, guys. All right, we had what we call doggone real talk. We had some good real talk here about parenting, and we had some real talk about our style in parenting, how we were brought up, what the environment looked like for us, and we were honest about that. I really appreciate the transparency that you guys had. So before I get ready to close the show out, I want to make sure I didn't miss any comments. I want to make sure I didn't miss any comments. Spanking sometimes do not work. Depends on the child. Yes, I agree, Lakeisha. So let's use an example. You got five children. Well, five children. I use five because I saw five people watching. You got three children, and three children all don't require the same kind of parenting. So one may need a couple of pops on the legs because of something. And one you can talk to a little bit different than you're talking to the one with the popping, although you're still talking to the popping. You don't parent each child the same way. It's not cookie cutter. Everybody gets the same cookie. No, that's not what that is. Parenting is a whole different way. And you have to know what works for each child. You do. You just have to know what works for each child. All right, my people. Well, I want to make sure that if you have not had the time to do the great, lovely thing is giving this show a thumbs up and letting us know that you enjoyed the show. Also, I think everybody who's been on here so far has posted a comment in the comment section. Thank you for that. That is absolutely great. I appreciate that. Thank you, Latifa. I know that Lakeisha also, too, has always tried to do a watch party. That is a great way of getting your friends on your social media page to join in on the conversation, even become a subscriber to the show. That is freaking awesome. Also, your word of mouth is a great way to get people to join this platform. So don't forget that we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So you can very well join all these platforms and stay in tune. I am in the process of looking on, if you want to make a donation to this show, the Cash App is lovely 0615, money sign lovely 0615. If you want to make a donation to this show, that money will be going into, because I want to build a website. Now, you do not have to donate anything. Don't feel like, oh, okay, she's asking for money. I'm not. But if you want to make a donation, if you want to sow a seed into this show, you can do that. People are doing it. You can do that. And what we want to do is get a web page up so that you can go straight to the web page, click the web page, click the link, come right onto the show. You can see what we talked about, archive shows. We are going to be growing. That's what we're going to be doing. Oh, somebody gave me some diamonds. Thank you so much. All right, my friends. Remember that love is all we got. And if that's all we got, we need to give more of it. So, as always, stay tuned to the show. Follow us on those social media sites. Always share this show with your friends. Tell other people about it. And always come back every Tuesday and Friday for in-depth conversation. Just to give you guys some heads up, we are going to be talking about the 4 horsemen as it relates to relationships. I'm going to be disclosing those. I am participating in a series right now through a pastor and his wife. And I am doing the homework on that end and making my comments so I can bring that show to you guys. So right now we're in this transition of becoming a better version of ourselves. So join me next week, Tuesday, for an in-depth conversation. And don't be surprised if I pop up over the holiday weekend. Guys, be good to one another. And remember, love is all we got. I thank you so much for being here on this show and supporting me. And I will see you next time. Bye.